I'm going to say this. You know, usually when you're looking for mentors, right? Yeah. It's always someone older. But for me, a lot of people who have influenced you or influences that you look for, they're usually older people. For me, it was more of some of my peers. Wow. And I've learned that not everything that you receive from people is going to be for you, but there are going to be certain things that you can pull from them. It's kind of like just eating the meat and spitting out the bones and fat. You don't need that. So I would definitely say initially would have been Mr. Director Carl Clay, who was the production, who just ran the whole production at Black Spectrum Theater in Queens. Then I would lead over into Frank William Smith, who was the dean and director of the NOAA program at Hofstra University, who kind of helped molded my emotional connection. As we're rolling closer into the industry, right now you have Mr. B.K. Fulton. He runs Solidify. You know, he's the president over there. He's an amazing person to look up to and to communicate with when it comes to understanding the business. You also have Mr. Monty Ross that I pay a lot of attention to, that we speak frequently. Throughout the years. Well, throughout the years recently, we recently connected. He is one of the co-founders of 40 Acres and a Mule with Spike Lee. Yeah. He's also a producer now, currently. He's one of my mentors that I connect with from time to time. And then last but not least, for sure, is I would have to say the mentor in my head is Charles King.
Oh, wow.
Charles King is, I don't know, you're familiar with Charles King, right? Yeah, he's the president over there at Macro Ventures. And I've watched him over the years and watched him grow and leave as a talent agent from WME and eventually form Macro. And then, of course, I saw him build his team. He didn't know I was watching him, but I was watching him. Again, I'm saying mention in my head. We communicate mainly through email, but he's extremely supportive. And that was a thing for me, and that resonates with me a lot because it really gets busy in this business, especially when you're doing something for the first time and you're carving out a space and there's really no blueprint. And so you're taking the steps to get to where you need to go. And so I used to always look at people and say, man, after they get into a certain space, they just don't talk to people. But when I look at what the steps that I have to go through when it comes to the Talent Connect and the role that we play in the industry and the positioning that we have taken, there's a lot of things that we're doing for the first time. And so I know what that means. And so for a person like, Charles King, who is spearheading this initiative through such a huge and impactful agency, to produce, film, to produce television shows, to now that they also have a management, lane. And, that I just, I admire that. And so, every once in a while, I connect with him and, he drops some gems and I'm like, I'm good for a whole year. Not for a whole year, but I'm good for a little while. So no, yeah, so those would be some of the mentors. And some, there are a lot of powerful women out there as well. That have been. I'm joking. No, listen. Actually, it's interesting that some may even be clients, like Tracy Baker Simmons, who's the creator of Being Bobby Brown, which is she's a pioneer in the business. They created the first celebrity reality television show, and they happened to have Bobby Brown, Whitney Houston, Bobby Christina. Those are huge talents, and they created this whole concept of following, the lives of these major mega stars, and kind of gave people the reality of, what it's like. You understand what I'm saying? So, but folks like her, I pay attention, to folks who kind of spearhead or are the trailblazers, because I know that that's something that we're doing in our space. And my approach may not be the same, but I pay attention to a lot of how they've worked their way through some of the trial and error that they had to